All right, what's up, guys? The brand new Pokemon Pocket set just dropped, and I wanted to go and review it with my buddy. My name is Isaac, or Average Bloom. You can just call me Average. Here with me, I got my buddy Rowan or Romo.
What's up?
Um, a little bit of background, I guess, for why you should even give a fuck about listening to us. We are longtime Pokemon TCG players. My buddy Rowan here has won states. He's competed at Worlds multiple times. Um, I am just a hardcore grinder. I helped him with building deck lists, stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, we're gonna go and give our perspective from more competitive TCG players on this new set, the cards in it, and what we think could be competitively viable. Um, so yeah, I'll just start and kick
Yes,
it
sir.
off. We got the first card is Heracross, but we're actually gonna start with Barry. And it's because these two very obviously tie into each other. During this
Yup.
turn, attacks used by your Snorlax, Heracross, and Staraptor cost 2 less energy. Um, so obviously this isn't like going into other deck. This is only for Snorlax, Heracross, Staraptor, and
Yep.
Heracross seems kind of mid to me, to be totally honest. What do you think, Rowan?
Yeah, 50 damage for 3 energies unless you use berry. Then it's one energy, 50 damage. Flip a coin. If both are heads, the attack does 70. It could be good, but it's most likely not going to be good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't mess around with that one, to be honest.
The fact
Too
that it's
iffy.
both heads have to be, or both of them have to be heads, and yeah,
Yep.
it's just this is too RNG dependent. If you're really good at flipping, I mean, just play Misty. Like I don't know.
Yeah, legit.
Um, but yeah, Heracross kind of mid. I don't think it's gonna be played all that much. Burmy, Motham, these are kind of whatever. Combi, Vespiquen. Vespiquen is interesting. It's a stage one, 100 in HP, so it's pretty frail, and 2 retreat cost, which is decent because you can leaf it out.
Yeah.
3 grass energy is super restrictive. You can't just like play this with other things. This is only grass, and it's super slow to get going too. And then
Yeah.
while 120 damage is a good amount, the fact that this does 30 damage to itself just makes it even frailer. I feel like this isn't going to be anything.
Nah, there's no shot, honestly. Like I guess it gives Superior another Pokemon that it could mess around with, but it's not one that I would mess around with, honestly. Celebi is just better in every regard, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah,
The 100
absolutely.
HP is it's not enough. 30 damage to itself, no.
Yeah,
No shot.
Celebi is like a stage isn't even it's a basic that has more
Yeah.
HP and is just better in every single regard.
Yep.
Yeah. Cherubi, just a basic shitter, whatever. Cherum and Cherum. These two, I first off, I love the art. I love the little references that these are making to. I want to say it was Stormfront, the Stormfront Diamond and Pearl TCG set. Little throwback to anyone who knows that. Um, but yeah, really good art. Not great cards though. A single energy and guaranteed confusion is interesting, I will say. But so far, Confusion has not proven to be a very uh competitive, I guess to say, status condition. Miss
Yeah.
Magius sees play every now and then, but that's mostly just because it's very aggressive with it being 2 energy, fat amount of HP, does 70, and you have that upside with the confusion. It's just a better Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah, both these terms are not worth it. Stage ones with 80 HP is pretty sad. One executor attack for one energy knocks them both out.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All it
not
all it
no, no
requires is a single heads.
yeah, not competitive enough, to be honest.
Yeah, and with especially with how much Executor is just rampant in the
Yeah.
format.
Yeah. It's too good not to play.
Yeah. I will say though, while we've been not super impressed with these grass Pokemon, this Carnivine I'm very impressed with actually. Um, so let's go on ahead and just pop it up. If you have an Arceus or Arceus EX in play, it's doing 30 more damage to the active. And then for a single grass energy, you're doing 20. With an Arceus or Arceus EX, you're doing 50 damage. Um, obviously it's going to be dependent on how consistently you can get out an Arceus or Arceus EX as well. But if anything is to show with, for example, Skarmory and how good Skarmory is, and how easy it is to get a tool card, it theoretically should be easier to be able to get a Pokemon. On top of just being able to draw it, you can Pokeball it out. I feel like this is a very good card.
I feel like it is good. I don't know what the decks are going to look like that are going to have to play it. Again, the new Arceus stuff is yet to be super explored, but this definitely is the best card that they've put out grass type wise. This set for sure.
Yeah, which kind of feels sad to say with Leafeon right here next to it. Um,
Yep.
because not to say that this card isn't good, but I feel like not this is not going to be a big meta player.
No,
Um,
not at all. On
yeah,
a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 4. If I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't play this. Again, Celebi EX, about the same amount of HP, about quadruple the damage for the same energies. It's just not worth playing Leafeon.
yeah. This is cool since we can energy accelerate, but how restrictive this is with you having to have it be in the active spot, and then this is 3 energy to be able to attack.
Yep.
It just feels very very slow. You're gonna
Yep.
like you theoretically, if you're going first, you go evolve, you attach, you can't even attack for 2 turns, you can accelerate, and so then next turn you can go and dawn and then attach and you can go. But this is asking for a lot, and there's other strategies that are currently around that utilize dawn in a much more effective manner or in a much more aggressive manner.
Yep. I mean, all of that for 70 damage. You have to do all of that. All those resources for 70.
Exactly.
It's like, man, you can't.
Yeah.
It's Leafeon's just not. It's not a carry. It's barely a good accelerator. But again,
Yeah.
you have accelerators that like Manaphy, or guaranteed attaches, or Moltres EX with 3 coins to anybody. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a liability too, considering this is an EX, and they
Yeah.
had to have it in the main the active spot, and so
Yep.
it can
And
just
it's
be.
stage one.
Hmm. So yeah,
No
I
good.
feel like as much as I would love for it to be good, I agree with your assessment. This is probably, if I were to like rate this on a 1 to 10, I'd probably give it about maybe like a 5, 6, maybe 6 to be generous, but
Damn.
my
Okay.
gut is saying like a 5.
All right.
Houndour is just a basic whatever. Houndoom is interesting insofar as Arbok is a playable card.
Yep.
This is effectively Fire Arbok. It's the exact same attack. It has the same retreat cost. I want to say it's the same amount of HP as well.
I believe so.
We're just looking at a difference in weakness and a difference in the typing. And so, as far as Arbok is good, Houndoom is good. Uh, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's about it, though.
Yeah, I mean the fire type decks that it could be played in are usually super aggro, so having a staller like Houndoom, I don't really know where it fits in to be honest.
Yeah.
It I could see it being in some wacky deck, but I don't think it'll be super meta.
Yeah. And honestly, for thinking about this a little bit more, it's actually not as good as Arbok, considering the things around Arbok, with specifically
Yeah, exactly.
Wheezing and Koga, and how
Yep.
good that is.
Yep. Way better.
Um, Heatran is interesting at best. I don't feel as though this is going to see a lot of play. It is another one of the I guess link Pokemon is what they're being considered. All of them
Yep.
have a link in the ability name, but they're going to have a different first word. And so for Heatran, it is Speed Link. For Carnivine, it was Power Link.
Yep.
And then
All the
for
links.
here Abomasnow that we'll see in a little bit, it's going to be Vigor Link. And I want to say that there might be one more, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Uh, its attack, Raging Mad Strike, 40 damage for 2 fire energy, isn't the worst. And then if this has any damage counters on it, it's 80 damage. And that's pretty fair. The issue is that there isn't reliable ways for us to be able to put in fact, as far as I'm aware, there really aren't any ways to be able to put damage counters on our own Pokemon, or fire Pokemon. So we can't really
Most
enable
no.
this.
Yep.
Um, and if the opponent is playing correctly, they're going to try and one shot this. It's fairly frail. 110 HP is really not that great. As we already saw just in this, the Vespiquen doing 120. Just that's going to be one shotting this heat ran. Um, the fact that this doesn't have a retreat cost is very interesting. So there is a world where you use this as effectively a staller for a Arceus deck. You just have this kind of sit up, soak up like some early aggression or something, and then you build up a Arceus on the bench, and then you can just free retreat it out. And that seems very interesting. But I don't know if this is ever going to be a real attacker for those. In my mind, I
Yeah.
feel like if I'm going to be doing some sort of a additional attacker on top of Arceus, it would be Carnivine.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like at best it's a Dredagon stall with free retreat cost and no ability that does damage. At worst, it's just an absolutely mid fire attacker,
Yeah, yeah.
straight up.
Meryl just kind of basically just a basic. Azumarill, we've seen this 2 energy, 60 damage multiple times. It is what it is. Barboach basic shitter. Whiscash is ass if we're being completely real. 4
Yeah,
energy, 2 water, 2 colorless, 80 damage, and then you gotta flip a coin. If you're good, you get the 60 more damage, and that's pretty cool. 140, 4 energy. That's a decent rate, as we've already seen
yep,
with things like Palkia and with things like Gyarados.
it's not bad.
Unfortunately, this has a downside where if you fail, you're doing 20 damage to yourself, and then you're only doing 80 for this energy cost.
Yeah,
Just
no,
does not seem
no
worth it
shot.
to me.
Not even close to worth it.
And
Why
3
would you throw
retreat?
four energies on a Whiscash when you could throw four energies on a Polkia, one hit almost everything in the
Mm-hmm.
meta?
Mm-hmm.
So,
And do 20 snipe to all the bench.
yep.
Like
Instead
crazy.
of 20 to yourself.
Yeah, this is Whiscash is ass. So let's move
Yep.
on. Snowrunt, just another basic. Frostlass. This is interesting insofar as the fact that this does 10 to all of your opponent's benched can allow mid to late game Cyrus plays. However, the low damage output that this has, I feel like, is going to make it more of a liability, especially when we have things like Spiritomb that are already in the format that for just any energy as a basic is already enabling Cyrus pretty darn good.
Yeah, I agree. It's just not great. It just takes too many slots in your deck for a possible Cyrus late game. That I mean, I don't even know how that would matter. It's not great.
Yeah, Snover is just a basic. Abomasnow is very interesting. This could very well be the other attacker instead of doing Carnivine for an Arceus deck. Its ability is if you have the Arceus or Arceus EX, then its energy requirements are one less for its attacks. Um, so then for just 2 water, you're doing 80 damage. And that's a pretty fair rate. This is a single
Yep.
prizer, 120 HP, stage 1. That's not bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of all the link cards, this is probably the best main attacker. Um, as so far as water Pokemon goes, it doesn't really fit into any water decks that I could think of. If I'm being totally honest, there's just so many good water attackers out there right now.
Yeah,
But this is a like an Arceus deck. I think this could be a thing for sure.
I agree. And then
A 2 for 80.
with your point with other water, it's just, Gyarados. You're not going to be fitting this in with Gyarados. You're not going to be fitting
Nope.
this in with probably not with Greninja. I guess that could be a thing though. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a lot of Pokemon slots.
That's a lot of
Maybe
slots, exactly. But I mean, hey, you're wanting a lot of Pokemon for Arceus, so I guess
that's
maybe
true.
there's some sort of synergy. Hey, who knows? Maybe you're hearing it first here. This is gonna be the next tier 1 deck.
Yeah.
Glaceon,
Which is one of my crowd favorites. I'm gonna pick him.
I like it. Glaceon EX
Sorry.
is very interesting. I actually think that this is better than it seems initially.
Uh,
90 damage for 3 energy obviously isn't too fantastic. We have Starmie EX with free retreat, 2 water energy, 90. The fact though that this is during Pokemon checkups that it's doing an additional 10 damage. So if it lives going back into you, it's 110 damage that it's done. I think this is actually very solid.
It's solid. I agree. I couldn't see myself playing this. I really don't know what this is better than that's currently in the meta. I just have a hard time seeing where this fits in. I agree. I think its ability is good, but I don't know. I don't think the card itself overall is that great.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
better evolutions that you could play. So, I mean specifically Vaporeon,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I would agree because being able to like manipulate the energy is a pretty big deal.
yep. Its HP amount is not great. It gets one shot by a lot of things that are meta. So, it's all right.
hmm Now,
It's
it
probably
is
a 6.
also it is also good to remember too that even though this is three energy, this is going to be a lot easier than most three energy Pokemon. This is a water, so like Manaphy is perfect with this as a partner. Also Misty is amazing as a card just in general.
Yep.
So this is actually going to be fairly easy to be able to get online. I think 9 out of 10 times, or like 8 out of 10 times realistically.
Yeah,
Um
I
Alright,
would
no
agree.
weave Vi.
but we'll just go on ahead and see how it goes. A Some little interruptions with a special guest. Go on ahead and mute that.
All right, what do we got
All right,
next?
origin form Palkia. We got Zone Smash, 60 damage. Flip a coin if heads, 60 more damage.
Yeah, I mean for 3 energies doing 60, not great. 3 energies for 120, pretty good. I again, it's another water type Pokemon that you could splash into the water deck, but again, there are so many good or decent water attackers. I don't know where this fits in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, especially again, we did just say that like it's not going to be too hard to charge it up on Glaceon, and it is
Yeah,
like the same thing here, but the issue is that it's just not as worth it.
yeah,
Like
yep,
60 120 flip, I don't know about
yeah,
that.
yeah. The 120 being sometimes is not great.
Yeah.
Too inconsistent.
Fione, I don't know how to pronounce this name to be.
I think it's Fione.
Fione. Okay, Fione. We're gonna go with that. Fione is actually very interesting though. 2 water energy, 40 damage, not a terrible rate. It is guaranteed sleep though. That
Yep.
is very interesting.
If I'm being honest, is probably the best water Pokemon in this set, other than the Abomasnow.
Other than I would probably agree with that. I do think that the Glaceon is good. But the Fione, I could see this being a tech option to try and like buy a few extra turns in certain
Oh,
board
100%.
states. Um
100%.
this very reasonable and it's a basic. I was expecting it to have less than 60 HP. The fact this has 60 HP is actually kind of cool.
Yes, sir.
Um I don't know why I expected it to have less than 60 HP. I guess because Manaphy, but and this is
Manaphy's 50
how much does
or
Manaphy have?
60 as well. I don't
Uh
know.
you know what, we're just gonna check it real quick live. By the way, go to Pokemon Zone, guys. This website's awesome. It's got all the cards. You can check out everything. Manaphy is 50, so weirdly enough, Fiona has like more HP.
There you go.
That's strange. Okay. Well, yeah, I was expecting it to have more. Or to have less. Huh. Weird. Anyway,
There you go.
Pikachu. 10 damage, 10 snipe, kind of whatever. This is probably going to be, if you're playing some sort of a Raichu deck or anything, this is probably the Pikachu you're playing, I would say. That's not bad.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
the Raichu is, I keep saying interesting, but that's like the most I can really say for a lot of these cards, to be honest. 90 HP, and then its ability Resilience Link. Okay, I was right. There was another Link ability.
Yeah, another Link Pokemon. Yeah, the Rotom as well.
Yeah, true, and the Rotom. Um, so this is, it takes 30 less damage if you have an Arceus or an Arceus EX. So in effect, this has 120 HP. Um, uh, Again, we've seen a lot of things that are doing 128 damage, and so this isn't really, tanking too much. I don't think. And then its
Yeah,
attack for 40 damage, 20 snipe for 2 electric. I don't know. I feel like this is mid.
I would agree.
Yeah, we're just gonna leave it at mid. Electrike is kind of whatever, just a basic. Manectrike. This is an interesting one. This is a single energy, 40 damage during your opponent's next turn. If the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin, and if tails, they get no attack. That is
That's
that's kind of unique.
neat.
That's very neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's honestly, it's pretty cool. Again, I don't know where it fits into an electric deck meta wise. Most electric decks are I mean, I guess Pikachu kind of has what is it? Dedenne is a stall with the paralyze. So I mean, maybe this could
Yes.
be decent, but I don't know if it's better than a Dedenne just because it's stage one and it takes up more
Yeah.
slots.
Yeah.
It's kind of again kind of hard to fit in.
Yeah. While this does do more damage than the Dedenne, uh, this is going to be more inconsistent for certain.
Yeah,
Um, and also, paralysis is definitely the more effective condition.
yep,
Um,
yeah. No switch cards yet, so there you go.
yes, yeah, yeah. The fact that we don't have any sort of like a switch or like a forced double switch or anything like that. Um,
Yep.
it, Paralysis is a very powerful status condition. It and sleep are the most powerful status conditions that you can inflict currently. And I am glad that they have made it so that the cards that can give those status conditions are not uh overly oppressive or like too pushed
Yes, sir.
as far as the design is concerned. We're going into the psychics now. Clefairy, just a basic whatever. Clefable, 60 damage during the next turn, your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon does minus 30. So if this gets an attack off, it effectively has 130 HP. However, the way that this is templated, if they just have a way to switch and attack with a different Pokemon, then they don't have any damage reduction at all. And this is 3 energy. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, it's not great. There's no, I don't see any deck that could possibly fit into. That would be better than any existing cards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it too. Um Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar. So the first two are just kind of what you would expect for like a basic. The Haunter's okay, is like decent enough, 2 energy, 40, kind of
Sure.
whatever. The Ghastly being able to get some information, or sorry, it's not just information, being able to shuffle a card from their hand into the deck could maybe be good.
Yeah,
Um it's 9 out of 10 times it's really not going to be too relevant though. This is just kind of
agreed.
whatever. Gengar is interesting though. Single retreat, 140 HP, stage 2, 2 psychic energy, 70 damage, and then it's guaranteed sleep.
Guaranteed sleep is always good.
Mhm.
Especially again, no switch cards. So anything that's a guaranteed CC is really good. Again, stage two, so it's going to be less consistent than a Miss Maggie's who does almost the same thing but confusion instead of sleep. Same damage numbers, same
Mhm.
type.
Mhm.
Um, I it could be good. I could see this being good. It again, it's just another one. You got to limit test it. Kind of hard to see where it falls in the meta. It's the stage two is sus. It's hard for me to get behind.
Yeah. Yeah. We do have Pokemon communication now, which definitely makes stage
That's
2
true.
decks a lot more consistent.
That's true.
However, this is and this is a psychic, and so Mythical Slab also works with this card. And so there are
Yep,
things going for it. It could work. Um you're just
I
always
agree.
going to have a inherent inconsistency when you are a stage 2. And that's just always going to be there.
Yep,
At least up until we
agreed.
get some sort of like maybe rare candy, if we even ever get that. That effect might be too powerful for this style of game. Unknown, the
Agreed.
ability to just like look at either player's top card. This is whatever. This is mostly irrelevant. We have Porygon, and Porygon is cool because you get to look at your top card, and then you can choose if you want to shuffle with like Pokeball, or if you want to draw it, or what have you. Um,
Yep.
the fact that this looks at the your opponent's top card, I don't believe that this changes anything. Maybe this is now the piece that you play in order to look at the top card of your deck if you want, just because it's technically more flexible. But I really
Yeah.
don't feel like it matters. I don't think the
Nope.
additional information is going to do anything.
Again, one thing you have to keep in mind when building these decks is you get 20 cards. Do you really want one of your very precious 22 cards to be an unknown? Checking your or your opponent's top card, it's just not worth a spot.
Yeah. And if you're worried about your opponent having something and you're trying to check if they'll draw it or whatever, that's not where you should be at. You should be trying to
Nope.
play as though they have the thing and then doing what is the most optimal line to try and play around it or play through it.
Yep. Again, they only have 20 cards. If it's a meta deck you're playing against, you could probably guess which of the 20 cards they need and which one they probably have.
Yep. Yeah, that's the fact that the decks are so small. These games are very open faced for the most part. You can, especially at the higher levels, view a lot of board states or a lot of matchups effectively like chess.
Yeah.
And that everything is kind of just uh open. The information is known. You know what your opponent needs to do. They know what you need to do. You just need to basically outplay them.
Yep.
And obviously there is RNG involved. There are tight matchups. It's not just chess, but I'm just talking about as far as your decision making and everything, or the trying to think of what the opponent would have or what they need and such. A lot of this is very open on the table up front, just like chess would be.
Yep.
Um, Rotom is again, as I'm gonna say for probably the billionth time, interesting. No retreat cost, 70 HP. Well, no retreat cost if you have an Arceus, that is. And then a single colorless energy, so anything works. Doing 20 snipe. This isn't terrible. This is probably going to be a like one of in the Arceus decks, just like try and maybe finish off some things that they move to the bench that you hit with a late game Arceus or some early pressure with your Cardivine or your Abomasnow or whatever. Um, I don't think it's gonna be too crazy if I'm being real though.
Nope. Yeah, it's a one of at best in the Arceus deck. Otherwise, you probably won't ever see this card.
Yeah. 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 You probably don't want to see this card for the most part, other than maybe just having it on your bench to power up your Arceus, which we will see in a little bit,
Yep.
don't worry.
Yep.
Sudowoodo, I like this card a lot actually. 80 HP to retreat cost, a single fighting energy, 20 damage, but if it's an EX, you're doing 30 more. And so similar to Bofalant from Mythical Island, where it's not doing too much damage, but against an EX, it's hitting a lot harder. I like how aggressively costed this is though, with it just being a single fighting energy. And I'm a big fan of these single energy like 50 hitters. I think that these are very relevant and very cool to see. And it's cool to see other types getting them too.
Yep. Agreed.
After that, it's Fan P, just a basic whatever. Dawn Fan is interesting insofar as being able to do 60 and then 120 each turn after is an interesting thing to do. It makes me think of Togekiss, but this is a stage one. The issue, though, is that this is going to be 3 fighting energy. And as far as I can think, unless I'm somehow forgetting or missing something, I don't believe that there is any fighting energy acceleration in the game currently, other
I
than
do not believe
Brock.
so.
Other than Brock, but Brock is not going to
Oh,
work with
Brock. Yeah.
Donphan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess there's a world where you Brock onto your Onyx, you attach, and then the next turn you attach and you Dawn, but that feels like it's a lot of things that need to go right for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I
Um,
agree.
Yeah, so Donphan's just kind of whatever. After that, we have Larvitar and Pupitar, just a basic and a stage one. Going into Tyranitar, fun fact, my personal favorite Pokemon, and also fun fact, I'm really depressed with this Tyranitar because this is not as good as I would want it to
Yeah.
be. This is,
Yeah.
to be totally honest, pretty mid. Um,
Yeah, it's another one of those. Oh, cool! It's a stage two with big HP, and oh, it's got four energies and four retreat cost. Oh, it only does 130 damage. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean 160, I guess, with an Arceus, and that is a lot, but 4 energy. Again, we were just
Four
talking how there's no
energies.
energy acceleration for fighting, really, other than being able to Brock onto your Onyx, and then the next turn you Dawn. This is slower at 4 than 3 energy compared to the Dawn fan, and it's a stage two, so this is just naturally going to be more inconsistent.
Yep. It's unfortunate it's a stage two. If there was rare candy and some sort or some sort of fighting acceleration, it would be possible. There's not either of those things, so it's probably not great.
Yeah, it makes me sad, but and I will probably play it just because, like I said, this is my favorite Pokemon of all time, Tyranitar. But uh, it's it's not good. It's not
Nope.
good, chat. Um,
Nope.
Nose Pass is just going to be the basic for Probopass, which we'll see in a second. Meditite's just the basic for Medicham here. 80 damage for a single fighting energy, but you have to flip a coin, and if tails, it does nothing. So this is a
Yeah.
pretty, it's low investment, which is awesome, a single energy, but completely whiffing is a big cost.
Yeah. Well, the big cost is the fact that you're probably going to want to run a 2-2 of this in your deck. You only have 20 spots. That's taking up 4 of your spots just for you to attach energy to it and flip it tails and do nothing. Probably not the play when there's plenty of other fighting attackers. Just Marshadow, 2 energies, guaranteed 40. If the
Yeah,
it's just better fighting Pokemon out there for sure. Like
yeah.
the Garchomp coming up here, much
Yep.
better.
Literally. In fact, we'll just go on ahead and Gibble and Gabite, just kind of the basic and stage ones that you would be expecting here. It is worth noting that they are just fighting energy attackers, which is cool. But I believe that the Gibble and Gabite that we had prior were colorless attackers. So I would not say that these are better realistically.
Yeah,
Um, the Garchomp EX is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Um, Now, one thing to note with the way that Cynthia is templated, it will not allow Garchomp EX to do 50 more damage. It only works for Togekiss and it only works for Garchomps, not Garchomp EX. Um, with that in mind, though, a single energy 50 damage to anything that your opponent has seems like an amazing rate, really
yeah,
powerful,
agreed.
can like pick off things that took heavy damage early on that they're trying to retreat away. And then 3 energy, 100 damage. This isn't a terrible rate, as we've seen with other cards that have seen some success. Um, I like this Garchomp EX a lot, to be honest, and a single retreat cost. It's just great.
If I'm being honest, I'm pretty sure out of all the cards that we've seen up until now, this Garchomp EX is probably the only one that could be a deck in and of itself. With other fighting like support Lucario maybe or other fighting types around it like Marshadow.
Hmm. I would agree.
This Garchomp definitely it's a stage two again, so you would probably have to make it revolve around this Garchomp EX, but it's good enough it might be able to. That linear attack is 100% what makes this card good.
Yeah, yeah. We cannot stress enough just how powerful it is to be able to do damage your choice of any of your poke. And the fact this is 50, this is very relevant. Um, Moving on, we're into the darks now. Zubat and Golbat, kind of just the stage one and basic you'd be expecting, like we've gone over before. I cannot think exactly what the original Golbat and Zubat did, but this Crobat is, I think, very good. If I'm being completely honest, Cunning Link. This is the only one that has this ability, this Cunning Link. Once during your turn, if you have an Arceus or Arceus EX in play, you can just do 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. It just does it. I think that this is phenomenal. especially since its attack 50 damage, just a dark energy. It's got free retreat. The HP is a little bit of a worry. This is a stage 2 with 110 HP, so that's a
Yep.
little frail. Um, but this is a very I feel like this could be a meta contender if the right things go for it.
I agree. I think that it can be really good. I think it will be pretty good, honestly. The problem with it again is stage two,
Yeah.
and it yeah, again you only have 110 HP. That's not very much. I don't like that.
Yeah. Like this gets one shot even without it being weak to electric. This does get one shot by Magnezone, which is currently like the number one threat, let's be real.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, one shot by Magnezone. It does do the 30 damage is nice. It's a stage two. That's 6 cards. What deck is this going in? It has to be played with an Arceus EX. So you most likely have It's an Arceus deck of some sort. It's going to be hard to find a spot for this unless you're building the deck with Crobat in mind is like one of the main focal points.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you are keeping that in mind and you create a Crobat Arceus deck, this is also a very good pairing with Wheezing. Wheezing is
Oh
fat,
yeah.
is doing the poison damage. Poison plus this ability on the bench, because you can use this ability on the bench. You can
Yep.
apply a lot of pressure very quickly.
I would agree. That would yeah, that's probably one of the better combos.
Um, moving on from Crobat, Krogunk, just a basic whatever. Toxicroak, I don't think this is going to see much play. The issue with this is that it doesn't actually do any damage. The
Yep.
effect of the attack is powerful, being able to poison, and then it's 20 in between turns. However, the fact that this doesn't do any damage on initial hit is kind of a big deal if we're being completely real.
Yeah.
They can go and just take 20 and then retreat, and then you only did 20 damage with your stage one. I mean, it's a single energy, I guess, but that's
Yep.
far fetched for a single energy is doing 40, man. Like, what are we talking about here? That's a basic.
Yep.
Yeah, so not anything to write home about. Magnemite, Magneton. Well, these are the metal magnets. I mean, I don't know what to say other than that. It's just a basic stage one. The Magnezone, this is definitely not as good as the Terror Magnezone that we have currently. Granted, Magneton is a big part of that. The fact that Magneton can just accelerate itself for free, um,
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
Pretty
However,
absurd.
even with that in mind, this Magnezone is just not too phenomenal. 3 energy, two of them having to be metal. It's only doing 80 damage. Its ability is if you have an Arceus, then it's taking minus 30. I don't know about this one.
I think it is infinitely worse than the electric Magnezone, and there would not really be any reason to ever play this,
Yeah. Yeah.
to be honest.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Mawile, I also don't think that this one is too phenomenal. A single colorless energy, so it could be flexed into anything, which is cool.
Yep.
But 20 damage, and then for the effect, the opponent's active has to be a metal Pokemon. Unless we literally see a rise in metal decks and they start taking over the format, I feel as though this is going to be just something we put on the bench and we kind
Yeah.
of forget about.
100%. I could never see this card getting real play unless the meta's 90% metal type decks.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, speaking of metal decks, Probopass EX, this could be
Yep.
something. It doesn't have any ability. It's 160 HP stage one, 3 retreat cost, weak to fire. Its attack is 3 energy, 2 metal, and a colorless. You're doing 90 damage, and then during the next turn, it's taking 20 less damage. So in effect, it would have 180 HP. You slap a big cape on this thing. It's a basically 200 HP, doing 90. That's not bad. This is also a good partner with Dialga.
Yep. Agreed.
Uh, yeah, I could see this being a I don't know about a meta deck, but I could see this being something that is at least experimented with and could possibly do well at some events. Especially when we are considering another card that we'll see in a little bit that I won't spoil just yet. But moving on from here, Bronzer, just a basic, into Bronzong. Bronzong is one of the better cards of the set, surprisingly. 120 HP, 3 retreat, so not too amazing so far as a stage 1, but 3 colorless energy can be flexed into anything, 50 damage, and then 20 more for each energy attached to the opponent's active. So against things that have 2 energy, it's going to be doing 90 damage. Against things that have 3 energy, you're going to be doing 110, and so on and so forth. A lot of attackers in this format and in this game typically will have 2 to 3 energy, maybe more. And so this is on average going to be doing in the ballpark of 90 to 110 damage for 3 energy, which isn't a bad rate realistically.
Agreed. It's pretty good. I could see this being splashed into. I mean, it could be splashed into any deck, really, but I feel like it's a good splash card. Maybe as a even a main attacker in some wacky tech deck that you could do, just because it's colorless energy allows it to do a lot of things.
True, true. Just like something that's like a bunch of different tech attackers, and then you
Yeah,
bring this out either for its ability to just two shot most things, or if something is weak to metal.
yeah,
I didn't think about some sort of just like colorless energy like multi type tech attacker deck.
yep. It could
Um,
it could be something crazy.
like there could be something crazy that someone cooks up. Who knows? Origin form Dialga. This one is if I'm being honest, I'm not super impressed with it. 2 retreat cost, not bad. It can be leafed out. 120 HP, weak to fire, kind of typical what you'd expect. 3 energy, 2 metal and a colorless. It does 100 damage, and then you flip a coin, and if tails during your next turn, it can't attack. So, um, you can go and retreat this, and then if you have some sort of a way to like get it back out, or if you have like another one on the bench or something, like obviously you can like chain attacks. um if we're being straight though, Heatran seems like a better option as far as a 3 energy metal attacker. It doesn't have the downside of whether or not it can attack again the next turn. It's technically doing a little bit more damage. I don't know, what do you think?
I think this card is mid. I don't. It's another metal attacker that just they have to give a 2 retreat costs and 3 energies just to do middling damage that most attackers can do for 2 energy with a way less penalty. I mean, the penalty of not being able to attack if you get a tails is pretty terrible.
That's pretty big. Yeah, I agree.
It hurts. I think it could be again. It could be like a nice little one of tech into a metal deck if you need
Mhm.
another attacker that's only 1 price card, but or 1 price point, but still iffy.
Yeah, I agree. Giratina, we're only gonna highlight this card for a second because this is probably the worst card in this set, which is
Yeah.
very impressive. No ability, 3 retreat, 120 HP basic. Not terrible there, I guess, but 3 energy, a grass and a psychic and a colorless. And then you're discarding 2 random energy. So you don't even get to control the energy you're discarding with this.
This card feels like a misprint and or they're setting this up to be good later down the road because this is right now. This is definitely one of the worst cards they've printed yet. The multi-energy attacker is crazy inconsistent. It's not. It's just, and you have to discard 2 of them, and they're random. Man, not
Yeah.
worth it
Yeah, no,
ever.
imagine you like got a single psychic energy over 4 turns. Your next energy is
Yep.
going to be another grass and you discard the psychic.
Yep.
Like, yeah, this
That's the
card,
reason the Dragonite deck struggled. Just could never be consistent.
yeah, true. That's a fact. And it's the big downside with something like the Garchomp deck from the Dialga and Palkia sets. As
Yep.
cool and as honestly, I think good as Garchomp can be, you just are constantly at the mercy of the energy that's going to be generated, and
Yep.
that's just kind of a scary position to be in.
Agreed.
Eevee, just a basic shitter, typical what we would expect here. We already know what the best EV is to play. It's the continuous slaps one because then you can just
Yep,
technically high roll your opponent out of the universe.
you good.
And I have been high rolled out of this universe, and it is a terrible feeling. I will tell you what. Snorlax. This card, now as we remember, this does work with Berry, which is a card that we went over. Here it is, right there, Berry. Bam, just a little remember.
Yep.
Some little member berries. Hey, member berry. Hey. Um, but Snorlax, 100 damage for in the best light, 2 energy, but then it instantly falls asleep itself? I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I don't know. That one again, another one that's like, why would you ever play this card? There's really no reason to ever play it. It just is bad. It's weak to fighting. No good.
Yeah, and it's only ever doing 100 for 2 energy at most twice a game.
Yep.
It just doesn't seem great to me. I don't know. I don't know. And the other Snorlax, we before doing this video, we looked at it. It's really not much better. It's 70 damage for the same energy cost. It doesn't put itself to sleep and it's got 10 more HP, but if you're gonna be going for the berry effect with a Snorlax, clearly we're trying to do the damage. This one's gonna be the better one in that regard, but it's barely, and it's
Yeah.
still even then not worth it at all.
Yep.
We in fact pretty soon we'll be seeing what the real attacker that you should be doing with Barry is. But before we get there, Hoot Hoot basic, just kind of whatever. Noctowl, not too amazing. I'm not impressed with it. 52
Yeah.
energy,
Same.
they reveal. Who cares? Just
Agreed.
yeah, who cares? Here is where we're getting to some very interesting spice though. Starly, Staravia, kind of what you would expect for basic in a stage one. It is cool that Staravia just a single energy and it's any energy, 30 damage. That's not bad, pretty decent rate.
Not bad.
Um, Staraptor, 150 HP stage two, two retreat. Gonna have that natural inconsistency from being a stage two, unfortunately. But moving aside from that, in the best light, 1 colorless energy, 130 damage, and you're just doing 20 to yourself.
It's pretty good. Honestly, it's one of the better ones. 150 HP for a stage two actually feels worth it for once.
Yep.
Um, as far as attackers go, it seems pretty decent for 130. For three, and then of course Barry. If for some reason you only have one energy attached to it by the time it's a stage two, you can attack for one energy for 130. That's not bad. That's
Yeah,
not bad.
that's not bad. I feel like this could see play. I don't know if it's gonna be like a tier deck. At best, this is probably gonna be like tier two or something. Um,
Yeah,
More realistically, it'll probably be like tier three or like a rogue or something. But
yeah. As far as decks go,
exactly. Um, but this does have playable written all over it.
oh yeah,
Um, and that is all we can really ask for at this point, to be honest.
yep.
And 130 damage. That's a pretty good amount. That's a pretty good breakpoint, realistically.
I agree.
Moving past that, Shaman is a very cool card, especially as we have gotten into this kind of like at least for a little while we had this like stall basic meta that was happening with a lot of decks playing like Drudagon. There was like wheezing and stuff like that. This is cool, being able to give all of your basics one less retreat cost is very, very cool.
Yeah, this card I 100% see people teching one, maybe two if you really need to retreat, but this is 100% a really good tech card. It's a basic itself. I mean, one. It's just good. It's just a good card. I could see it being teched into most decks actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I,
like I
I
mean,
expect to see this have a lot of play.
if you have basic attackers, this is probably going in there realistically.
Yep.
Um, Now moving on to the creme de la creme of the set. Unfortunately, it is not this Arceus or Arceus. I know I've been mispronouncing it this whole time. Fuck you, deal with it. Um, this Arceus is not too phenomenal. 4 colorless energy for 100 damage, and then you gotta discard an energy from it. It I wish that there was some upside with that instead of it being discard. If it was like discard from your opponent's Pokemon, maybe there'd be something here.
Yeah, agreed. The 4 energy is just rough. The 2 retreat cost isn't great. The 120 HP is mid at best. And again, it's discard random energy, 100 damage. I'm not seeing much play out of this.
Yeah. I mean, not to shit talk 120 HP basic too much. That is pretty good. But it's just this card taken as a whole is really not there.
Nope.
Now, that aside, this card, I'm going to say it and I believe you'll agree with me, buddy. This is the best card in the set
Oh yeah, by far.
by far. And I'll have you I've talked a lot with it. You can take over with this one cuz this is the best card.
Yeah, by far the best card. It feels like they tried to make this entire set about Arceus, and they really, I mean, they did it.
Yep.
It's all about Arceus, but just because all the other cards are just not great,
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately. So that is one of the unfortunate things about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just good. It's a good card. I mean, this is going to be a deck by itself. I could see this if this could be teched into anything. This is technically just maybe one of the best cards they printed due to it being having infinite playability in literally any deck. If you need a good decent attacker, there he is.
Yeah. No, like the
And he
fact
can't
this is
ever
just
be
colorless.
stunned or anything. I mean, it's got to be the most consistent attacker in the entire game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I couldn't say it better, really. Like this can't be paralyzed, this can't be slept, this can't be confused, this can't be burned, this can't be poisoned. That's a big deal. It really is.
Yeah.
This uses any energy. It's only 3 energy, so it's super fast to get going. And then it's 70 plus 20 for each of your bench. This is doing 130 damage almost every single time if you're building your deck proper and it's about this card. And
Yep.
this is a amazing rate. 130 for 3 is crazy.
Yep, and it could be an energy. You can have any other cards around it. You can have all kinds of crazy one of techs depending on the deck. Could be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is bar none the best card. This works. This gets accelerated by Manaphy. This gets accelerated by Dialga. This works with everything. You can dawn onto this and go crazy. Like this card is just this. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing this pop up as like a one of in just different decks, just random things.
Yep.
Yeah, and your statement with they built this set all around Arceus. I mean, like I couldn't agree anymore. Like
Yeah.
we literally even saw they have Pokemon that are entirely designed to be with the Arceus. This is such an Arceus set. It's crazy, and thank God that the literal Pokemon God himself is good. I would
Yep.
say that this card is good enough that yeah, he's pretty worth the whole set being about him.
Yep. I would agree.
Um, moving on from the best thing in this whole set, we're going on to what is the second best thing in the set, the supporters. These are
Yep.
usually the second best thing in all of the sets that we've gotten, the supporters and the items. Irida, very playable. Healing 40 from each of your Pokemon that just has water energy attached. It doesn't care if the Pokemon itself is water, it's just got to have water energy. And it can heal your whole board.
Yep. This is definitely. I think this is their best supporter they printed this set. There are so many water decks, and Palkia I think is gonna benefit greatly from this, depending on the Palkia deck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
definitely keep an eye on this.
almost certainly it's going to be a one of in all of those decks, like almost certainly. Moving on to the next one, Celestic Town Elder. You put a random basic Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. This is very cool insofar as you can go and do 1-2 lines or 1-2-2 possibly lines of Pokemon, or like a 1-2 or something like that, and then have this be the second basic, where if the first one gets knocked out and then, oh, I can no longer evolve, well, you could grab it back with the Celestic Town Elder and then still be able to make it work.
Yeah, this one is iffy, inconsistent. I don't know what deck it's going to be good in. I'm sure somebody will find some good use for it somewhere.
Yeah. That is the other thing with it. The fact that this does a random basic Pokemon, that is also very worrisome. And so the situation that I highlighted is the best case scenario realistically, and how I could envision this being theory crafted into a deck. Um how it actually plays out though is probably going to be pretty different from what we want it to be.
Yeah.
Moving on to Barry. Again, we already saw this. We'll just skip this. It's a good card. It's just it's not playing another thing. It's just gonna be Barry decks. It's probably gonna be
Yep.
Staraptor realistically. And after that,
Agreed.
we are on to Adaman. This I think is, other than Irida, the best supporter. I don't know which one is going to be better, but both of these things are doing very similar things. Where Irida's going into probably every single water deck, this is going into probably every single metal deck. During your
Yep.
opponent's next turn, your metal Pokemon just take minus 20 damage from attacks. And it doesn't care if it's a specific metal. It's all of your metal. It's not your, yeah, just all of them. Even your benched. Yeah, I think that this card is great. It's just gonna be a one of in metal decks. Yeah. Nothing really
Yep.
much else to say other than that.
I mean, yeah, it explains itself. It's going to be 100% played.
And that's the whole set. Real quick, we'll go on ahead and we'll just highlight what the full arts and the nice pretty arts are. Starting off with this Houndoom. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is crazy art. The little flame breaths coming out of the mouth, like this is nuts.
It looks quite nice.
The Meryl, this is very cute. I like all the little Meryls just kind of playing, like this one's snacking here, this one's all happy, this one just vibing out, big chillin'. Love that. The Unknown, this is very cool. I like the art style that they have going with this kind of more like detailed. You can like the little cracks and uh the roots and everything going on, the line work. I like this art a lot. It's unfortunate that the card itself isn't too amazing, but hey, you work with what you get, right? This Pseudo Wudo is pretty decent. It's nice that the old man's here working on his bonsai, trying to have it match his buddy Pseudo Wudo. That's pretty cute. I like that. Like kind of a better way to look at that. Next up is the Magnemite. Magnemite is just, this is really cute. Just like some happy magnets, connecting together and everyone. It's nice. This one's maybe dead. I don't know. He's upside down. Who knows? But that's fine. Don't think about it. And then this shaman art is phenomenal. This is like that same art style as the Cresselia and the Giratina, I want to say, full arts from the last set, and I just absolutely love this style of art. The colors, how vibrant it all looks. This is phenomenal. This is really good.
It's a nice one.
And the Pokemon art just goes crazy, man. The full RDXs are kind of just like basic, what you'd expect here. Not bad.
Arceus looks nice.
I was about to say, actually, I think the Arceus does, or the Arceus. Whatever. Who cares? I've said it so many times. Arceus. This is clean. This is nice. I like that. The full art trainers look excellent as they always do.
Yep.
Irida, I love the blues, the bubbles, the sparkles. It's great. This is awesome. The Celestic Town Elder, I like that this is the gold. Same with Cynthia, because I want to say it was implied in the games, little fun lore fact, that this is Cynthia's grandma.
Oh, that's true. It is.
So I like that they did the same kind of backing as the full art Cynthia. The berry, actually, looking at the berry here, I really like the colors that they have going on with this kind of like blue green, like what, like that turquoise or teal. It's lovely.
Looks pretty nice.
That's very nice. And then the Adamant, this is sick. That like silver, that like, hard, glistening, gleaming. That looks so cool. The rainbows. Oh my goodness. Wow. This Leafeon is phenomenal. This is really good. Very cute. Very lovely. Anyone who gets that is a lucky individual. Same with this Glaceon. Oh my goodness. Wow, this Glaceon I think is better actually. This is so good. This is nuts. Damn, the little snowflakes, like the ice crystallization happening on the water, how like cold and chill and blue everything. This is awesome. I like that. This Garchomp, this is cool as hell. The Arceus here in the background, they're like, this is so sick. It's in the mountains. This is so sick. I like
This
this.
this full art picture of it doesn't show the rainbow. It's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
It does look nice. I think the Garchomp's sweet.
This is so cool. And then the last rainbow art is the Probo Pass. This is very good. If it ever loads. Oh my goodness, what just happened? Oh, is it down? Oh, let's go back. There we go. There it works now. Oh, this is so cute. It's got like its little like hands or whatever these are like under the leaf. That's so cute. I like this. It's like kind of like almost realistic, but it's really good.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I like that. And then if you are so lucky to pull it, this is the immersive. I have no idea what the animation is going to be like, but man, if this art is anything to go by, it's going to be a crazy animation.
Yeah, for real.
So, I wish all of you who watch this video, especially if you watch through to the end, like, man, you're champ. Listening to my bullshit and my buddy here and the little interruptions that happened in the middle because I didn't realize that I didn't mute the other person in the Discord call with us. That was my bad. I'm so sorry. Um, but that's pretty much the whole set.
Yes, sir.
I guess to wrap it up, we'll give some final thoughts. Rowan, do you want to kick us off with some final thoughts?
The set was made for Arceus. Arceus is by far the best card in the set. We will see what the meta becomes, but Arceus will 1,000,000% be a part of it.
Yes.
That's my biggest takeaway. That, and I think Shaman, the basic Shaman that gives you a free retreat cost on basics with 1 retreat cost, will be played.
Yeah. Yeah, I firmly agree with that. Overall, I would say, and I think you agree with me. This was a fairly low powered set.
Yep.
I appreciate that though. I'm glad that they're taking it pretty slow for the most part as far as the power creep is concerned and with introducing better cards. I'm okay with this kind of like little gradual, slow building that we're doing. We're getting some cards that are very knockout good, Arceus, obviously. And then instead of anything that's like really upgrades, we're getting like kind of side grades or just other options, and I'm a fan of that. I think that this if this is anything to go by, I am a fan of the direction that they being the Pokemon company or whoever it is that's designing the sets. I think that they're doing a good job, and I think that the future is looking pretty bright.
I agree.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate again anyone who stuck by, listened to our ramblings. Thank you so much. I hope that you were able to gain or learn something from this. I hope that you pull a God pack and you get Arceus and you get Irida and all of the good stuff, everything that you're wanting. I hope you get everything you want. That's it. Peace. See ya.
Agreed.